Oh, hello there, Facebook. It's been a while. My last live update was during the tropical storm that wasn't. So, big disappointment on that one. But today I wanted to work on a video for school actually. What we're doing is we have a project in which we have to research a specific dessert from a certain country. Um, get some information, some stats, get some pictures, a cool presentation for it, and perhaps why not cook it, get the full experience. So I chose the Japanese cotton cheesecake. So today I will be making that. For those of you that don't know what a Japanese cotton cheesecake is, it's pretty much a fluffy, high-rise cheesecake that looks like a marshmallow. It even wiggles and moves, and it's supposed to be so soft, so light, melts in your mouth. So who doesn't like that? So why not just go ahead and do that? And as you guys know, I'm big on the Japanese culture, big on its folklore, and anime, of course, because pretty much is what drew me into the culture. So first off, I want to introduce my friend Ashley Masters. I call her Ashley Masters. She's she is. She'll be responding to any comments you guys make. And as you guys all sign up, I know a few of you might take a little bit longer depending on the time of day, which is actually 6:41 p.m. on a Saturday. Hopefully you guys don't have any lives, are at home, and have nothing else to do but to watch me for the next half an hour to 45 minutes. So to start off, again, this is for school, and I have a presentation on Monday, so you guys are really helping me out. So please feedback, questions, comments, anything else, just let me know. I'm gonna get started. I am wearing my black chef coat that my cousin John gave me for my birthday. Give me some inspiration to become a chef. So John Christian, thank you, Vanessa, for the information since he doesn't have a Facebook. Now, to get started, I have some of the ingredients already set, if you want to just show the ingredients. So for this particular cheesecake, we have some cornstarch, 30 grams, 40 grams of all-purpose flour. Now you could do 20 grams of cornstarch and 50 of cake flour. I just didn't have any cake flour, so then you basically have to fix the ratio because of the fat content and the way it's finer. I have some salt, sugar. Now it actually asked for a finer sugar, so regular confection sugar would not work. We have heavy whipping cream. I do have the heavy whipping cream, which has 45% fat. Now it does call for 35, which will be the regular whipping cream. So let me see how that works out. I'm not completely sure. Hopefully it won't make it too heavy. I already have some whipped cream, cream cheese in here, which is, I have 4 ounces, 3 egg yolks, and 3 egg whites. Now we separate them because you want to whip the egg whites separately from the egg yolks. Now you're separating the protein. The egg whites are going to get fluffy. They're going to peak. They're basically going to create air bubbles, which will actually help the cake rise. If you don't separate them, you're not going to get the same effect. Also, with that, there's no yeast involved to help it rise. There's no baking powder, baking soda, so the egg whites is what's going to make it rise on its own. And if I miss this step, then the cheesecake will not rise properly. So fingers crossed. I do have some extra just in case, and of course some vanilla extract, cream of tartar, which is used with the egg whites to help them become more fluffy, create air cells and bubbles, and really help it rise. And of course, some wine, because why not? It's me. And so I have some Moscato that was on closeout at the supermarket. Yes, I'm on a budget lately, and you have to think smart. If you're gonna spend money on things that you don't need, and leisurely spend money, might as well just do it correctly. So, Mom, you should be proud of me for half of what I'm doing, not the other half, which is drinking. So we're gonna get started, and I'm gonna be following some instructions that are written down in my phone. So don't mind me if I look to the side. Ashley, you want to update me on who's on?
Oh, you have 12 people on.
Wow, okay. Well, everybody, hi.
You've been called an alcoholic.
by whom?
Nancy Malvoni.
Nancy Malvoni, of course. Nancy was with me, side by side, after work, at plenty of bars, getting wasted like alcoholics. So Nancy, you should not be talking right now. Because you and me are both alcoholics.
And then Natasha Albin says, hi, Javi.
Hey, Tasha, how are you? Say hi to Gabe and Sophia and, of course, France.
Mervyn Ronald.
Hey, Ronald. So I'm going to just get started on reading the steps, which it calls to start with the cheesecake, with the cream cheese. So I'm going to basically add, I'm going to get a mixing bowl. And I'm going to add, I should get a glass mixing bowl. I'm going to add the cream cheese to it. Okay, so that's 4 ounces. What I like to do when the recipe calls for 4 ounces, I put a little bit more because you do leave some behind. This is not totally bad, but in some instances, heavy cream, you do leave about a few grams behind. So you just want to do a little bit more. That way you get the full extent of it. And then I'm going to get some vanilla extract. Now vanilla extract, it's a little strong. Should measure it, but I tend not to. You just basically do about a teaspoon, which is about that. And again, when I first started cooking, I used to do that and I used to mess up really big because I used to actually put more than I should have. So practice, see how much tablespoon is. When you feel confident, then you could just go right ahead. For baking though, it's recommended not to do it. Do it by measurement because everything does affect the way it rises, the way it comes out, texture. So again, if you feel comfortable, by all means, I feel comfortable, so I'm doing just that. Okay, and anybody else that's commenting?
France Zach said your hat's crooked.
My hat's crooked, friends. It's a chef hat. It's supposed to kind of be fluffy, crooked. It's kind of like the French army, you know.
We still have 11 views.
Just want to mix the cream cheese. And I'm going to just mix it a little bit well, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the, I'm going to do a whisk, so that way just to mix it a lot better. Get all the chunks out. Now through this main part, the recipe calls for using a strainer or a sifter, so this is one of my favorites. These sell in Bed Bath & Beyond for like $10 for the 3 pieces, large, medium, which is this one, and the small one. Some people might say they don't need it, but I always say why not, and as well, the small one works really well when you're squeezing oranges or lemons for juice because it catches all the seeds and all the pulp, so it does actually work really well.
Omi Wan says Ratatouille, that's your new nickname.
No. Hello Omi, yes, Ratatouille. So, next step is calling for boiling some water and putting the bowl on the stove to actually get it heated and get the cream cheese to melt without really heating it up on the actual pan. And I'm going to get a smaller pan because my bowl is slightly small. So by doing that, by doing the double boiler method, you don't actually expose the item to the heat of the pan. You just basically heat it up and raise the temperature around it so it could soften them up on its own. So you do that a lot with chocolate because if you were to just put it directly on the stove, it's just basically going to melt really quickly, then burn, and you won't be able to have the same results. So I'm just going to get some water melting, and just going to let water melting, water boiling. Just going to leave that for a little bit. So I have the vanilla extract and the egg here, so I'm going to put it aside. Now I'm going to work on the flour and the cornstarch. Basically telling me to just sift it into a bowl together, so it's going to combine them. Now, there's different ratios of both of them, but it seems to be the same measurement because cornstarch is actually finer and less dense, so in terms of measurement, the flour weighs more. So even though it calls for less of the cornstarch, is pretty much equal in terms of volume. There you go, sift it away.
You sure you want to be drinking and baking?
Why not? It's fun. And always keep a handy dandy rag around when you need it. Now, the part that's going to be the trickiest here will be with the actual egg whites. So I'm supposed to use my hand blender and basically whisk them until fluffy. So that is the hardest part because it has to be a specific consistency. Otherwise, they will not rise correctly. And my cheesecake, instead of being a fluffy cotton cheesecake that rises, moves, jiggles, kind of like me actually. It would actually just be flat, and nobody likes that. That's not fun. More cushion for the pushing.
We're junk in the trunk.
Junk in the trunk, that's right. Gonna set this aside as well. Now it calls for a little salt, and the salt helps the egg whites just basically fluff up. Gonna put a little bit of table salt. I'm not a fan of table salt though, and for those of you that don't know me, I prefer kosher salt, but the finer salt the better. This cake has to be very light, so all the ingredients that it's calling for is actually calling for very light ingredients. Fine salt, fine sugar. That's why I called for cake flour, which is finer, but I had all purpose, hence the extra cornstarch. So now I'm going to whisk the eggs. Let's see if it's too much noise, I'll do it on the side. Stuff for a little bit, come back. But just basically whisking them. And as you're whisking them, they're going to create a lot of bubbles. And now it's foamy, which is great, and now you get to add the cream of tartar. That I will use a teaspoon. It's calling for 1 teaspoon. And that would actually help them peak, get stiffer, and work out well. Kind of like egg white Viagra. You know, I have to say it.
Omi says, how come there isn't a phone near you? You know, in case you burn the house down.
I do have a fire extinguisher, Omar, just in case, so don't worry about it. It's all good. So I'm going to fix the temperature of the stove to quickly heat up the... What?
This kid cracks me. Omi says, cheesecake though, why not a flan? You're mad Latino though. Question.
So Omar, why not a flan? Omar, I've mastered the flan. My flan is amazing. Also,
He has.
Thank you.
That's his national dessert.
That's my national dessert. Also, you missed the beginning of the video where I said this is for a school project in which I have to research another country's desserts. Find one that I like, explain it, you know, go into it, and actually try it out. So I'm trying a Japanese cotton cheesecake. And as you may know, I like Japanese culture, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Would that be okay, sir?
He said I ain't never had none.
No, of course not. However, for those of you that live in New York, take advantage of the fact that there is a few bakeries that offer this in the city, as well as Flushing. In Savannah, I could not find one. In Georgia, I could not find one. I would have to travel to Washington, D.C. or Orlando, Florida, just to get into an authentic Japanese bakery that actually offers that. So you guys are lucky, those of you that are in New York, and you're able to try this out. I'm going to make mine. They're very popular. If you Google Japanese cotton cheesecakes, they're incredibly amazing. They have a big fan base in Japan, and they just keep growing and growing, and it's become somewhat of a thing that everybody's trying out. So it's easy to make, so far at least. There's some troubleshooting. They have some issues, and some of the things that they mentioned was the egg whites. So if I don't get this perfect, then everything else just falls apart. So this is the most important part of it, which is just whipping the egg whites.
It needs Spanish captions.
Spanish captions, was that Omar?
Omar and Adrian? Or, is that his name? Adrian Flores?
Of course, because they're friends and they decide to pick on me at the same time. I do speak very fast, however, for my long-term friends, you guys know that after a week or two, you begin to understand my heavy language. And it just becomes normal. And then you don't see me for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden you're back to square one, and you have to adapt again to my accent.
That's why we bonded, because I came from St.
Yes.
Croix and you came from Puerto Rico.
There you go. So for now, the water is boiling, so that's awesome. My eggs are actually pretty whipped and peaked. We'll take a look at that. So they're slightly peaked, they're fluffy, which is awesome. So that's going to help it rise. I'm going to go a little bit more, but I'm going to add some sugar to it. And I'm going to put this aside for now and actually do the other mixture since it's ready. Now it does call for some lemon or orange zest. I went with the orange zest, which is just the orange peel zested with a zesting tool. And I just wanted to quickly tell you guys about this item, only because I like to recommend things that really work well and help you out in the kitchen. I got this in Bed Bath & Beyond, and it's not expensive at all. It's a very cool 4-in-1 grater. It rolls around $50, and you could always use a 20% coupon. It comes with its actual carrying case. You actually zest and grate on it, because it snaps together. And it comes with a zesting tool, coarse, you know, fine, so all types. You can make home fries with this. Potato pancakes are amazing. For those Spanish people who like to make mofongo and stuff like that, and arañitas, if you guys know what that is. Amazing tool, $50, well worth it. And it really helps keep everything inside instead of just putting it on a plate, and it just keeps them organized. So I'm going to add my lemon zest to my earlier mixture of the egg yolks and cream cheese.
It's the unicorn of zesters.
Hmm?
It's the unicorn of zesters.
This is the unicorn of zesters, actually. We have one at school that's just the standard microplane, and it just goes everywhere. So it's good to have something like this. So now I'm going to use my actual whisk to whisk the eggs. I use the metal one because I have a glass bowl. Now this is a silicone one, and I only use this when I'm mixing inside a non-stick pan, so I don't scratch it. And that's just some recommendations for some people, Mom, who likes to use metal and non-stick. So now I realized that I have too much water, so when I put the bowl, I don't want the water to touch the bowl. I just want the vapor to actually help melt the actual mixture and soften it up. So what we're doing right now is really just making sure that the cream cheese pretty much just melts in there and becomes softer. And it's just really just mixing it. The water should be boiling, and the steam is going to help it mix without cooking it. So already it's working. It's not chunky. It has to be very smooth because this cake is temperamental. So it's all about smooth, light, fluffy, and all of that will help it. So baking is very strategic. You have to pretty much be on point on your measurements, on your technique. Anybody could follow recipes, anybody could do that, but if you don't have the know-how or just the skill level to just make your own decisions and really have great technique, you can't do it. And that's just, for example, in school, there's a lot of us there. And we'll all follow the same recipes, have the same ingredients, the same everything, the same stove, the same fire. However, everybody produces something different. So think about that. It really just depends on the skill level. It does depend on your know-how and your decision-making skills. So I'm not calling anybody out. So if you guys are watching from school, sorry about it.
They're all hating on your pants right now.
So this is pretty much set. I'm going to take it out of the fire. Gonna let it continue cooking as it cools down. So the mixture is very light except for the lemons, the orange zest which is in there. Now I'm going to drain this. The whole point of the orange zest was to give it some flavor, but you don't want it in there at the very end. So we're going to strain it, and we're going to put it back in there so it's completely smooth, and there's no lumps, there's nothing in there, and it's just completely set aside. So for now, setting this aside as it's hot. Now I'm going to add the sugar to my egg whites, and that's going to finish the egg whites, and then I'm going to fold them in to the mixtures themselves. I'm just quickly taking a look at the ingredients just to make sure that I have it all set. So I'm gonna just do a little bit more on this one. So you don't want to do this on a glass bowl because it will make a lot of noise. But it works. It's just really noisy. However, now that I added the sugar, small peaks, and what they mean by that is when you put it out, they peak. So it's kind of cool. I actually didn't know what that meant a while ago, actually, when they said make sure that the egg whites peak. And I was just wondering what the hell was that, and I googled it and saw a video on it, and I was, dumbfounded.
Adrian says, I love it noisy.
Yes. We get the joke about the
And
whole accent.
Anthony Ayala?
Yeah.
He says, there's judgment in that tone, LOL. Nancy says, your pants are falling. Ray
Thank you,
L.
Nancy.
Martinez, Azari, pick those pants up.
Thank
Omi
you.
says, our belt's part of the beyond.
No, I don't buy my clothing in supermarkets or dollar stores like you do. But
Adrian.
when I go to an actual clothing store, I'll make sure to pick one up.
Anthony says, lies.
What? What lies? What lies? This is a judgment-free zone, gay people. I don't even believe that myself.
Get together, you guys.
I know. You guys are awful, by the way. You guys are no good.
He gets them from Walmart.
How dare you? These are American
That
Eagle.
was Ray.
Raymond, I'm gonna... Okay, so my trips to Walmart at 3 in the morning is because I'm very bored, okay? I'm super bored at home. There's nothing to do in Savannah. Nothing is open past 10 until the weekends. I know, and then all of a sudden it's just drinking, and then you guys call me an alcoholic. So I go to Walmart, and I food shop, and I shop for silly things, and maybe I buy 20 shirts, and I return 10 the next day because I regretted them. But other than that, no, I don't buy jeans from Walmart. Great.
Anthony says, LOL, full of judgment.
Yes, you know me best. Alright, so I'm just looking to see where I'm going to add the actual cake flour and cornstarch.
I wish you wore that hot pink tank top.
Wait, who?
Adrian said that.
How did you know I had one? Did I mention it
I
somewhere?
don't know, it sounds like you just let
Yes,
me
I
have
went to
that.
Walmart. I think I posted I went to Walmart and I ended up buying that hot pink tank top for no apparent reason. It's a large, guys, so I gotta lose some more weight and actually get into it. Status on my gym, on my gymming and working out update, I lost another 3 pounds. So for the entire 2 months that I've been working out, like strictly working out, I've lost 12 pounds so far.
He said, yeah, that sleeveless one he never returned.
Huh?
He said, yeah, that sleeveless one he never returned.
Who's that? Omar?
No, Ray.
Ray? Yes, sometimes I have things in bags that I say I'm gonna return and they stay in the closet for years. So yeah, Ray, I know. So now moving on to the cooking, guys. This is about cooking, and then you guys are judging me right now. So let's refocus on the cooking.
You told us in your hurricane video.
Oh, I did? Okay. I did. Okay, thank you. See, I completely forgot. So, this is my dilemma right now. I have heavy cream here, and I have this here. Now, I'm waiting to see where I'm reading the instructions, and nowhere does it mention both of them. So, I'm going to go to the video to give me some guidance on where to actually add it. Yes. Who said what?
Ronald James says, I like your southern accent.
Thank you.
Wow.
Wait, jerk.
I'm about to say, I think I'm the only one who has a southern accent. Both of us.
Yes. Yes. you
Nancy
do.
says you're actually baking, not cooking. Omi says they sell cheesecakes at Walmart too, you know.
Nancy, yes, I am baking, not cooking. You're very much right. Hopefully, when you get home to your man, you'll be able to cook something or bake something nice. Wait a second, you're single.
You're such an asshole.
I completely forgot. When you get to have that experience, Nancy, it's an amazing experience. Melts your heart. Great sex right after cooking and baking for your man when you do it right. So.
God.
What?
Don't listen to him, Nancy. He's a hater.
I am being judged right now on camera.
She just gave you a big old fuck you.
Okay, well that's fine. Thanks, Nancy, but no thanks. So, making the yolks and cream mixture. So now, this on the instructions only said egg yolks, salt. Egg yolks, vanilla extract, and cream of tartar. However, when I'm looking at the video, you're supposed to have this and this, which is the heavy cream and the flour mixture. So I'm just gonna add that back on, heat it up a little bit, and mix it all together so it's nice and fluffy. So that makes more sense because now it's not going to be lumpy, it's going to be just still very much liquid. It's going to work out perfectly. I'm just going to get all those lumps out of the way. I brought my dish towels.
Nancy said, I think you need to take another sip of that wine.
I should take another sip of that wine. I'm kind of thirsty, Nancy.
Ronald James says this is better than the Food Network.
Thank you, Ronald. Ronald's so positive, unlike Nancy. It's okay, Nancy. I'll drink my wine. You go ahead and watch that basketball game. Oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so just gonna mix this a little bit more while it's heating up. That way it becomes smoother without actually cooking it. Just gonna clean up my mess. Now, another suggestion that I learned through being in school with a lot of individuals is clean up after yourself.
Oh my God, yes.
Don't wait until the end. Thank you, Ashley. Don't wait until the end. During. Because in the end, some people are faster than others and they end up having to clean up for you.
That or they don't give a shit.
Very much true. So, again, not pointing fingers. If you're watching though, sorry about it. It's just what it is. So now this is getting softer again. Now I'm going to let it cool because if I add the egg whites to it, as it's warm, it's actually going to react differently and they're going to deflate pretty much. So think about it as the egg whites are now fluffy enough as you're folding it. Now folding is different than mixing. When you mix it, you're going all over the place. Mix it with a whisk. No, we're going to fold it with a spatula and you're basically literally folding it like clothing around and around. That lets air in, but it doesn't mix it enough where it deflates the egg whites.
It keeps your air bubbles. When you fold in, it keeps your air bubbles. When you stir, you basically deflate all your air. That's what makes everything rise.
Exactly. So for those of you that like to cook, bake cakes and then it doesn't come out the way you want it, that is part of the technique that you need to use to make the cake fold correctly. So I'm going to take this out of the hot pan to let it cool. So when I fold it, it doesn't affect the egg whites. So I'm going to transfer this to a different bowl because the bowl, it's not going to help it cool any faster because it's really warm. And I'm going to actually strain it at the same time through my other strainer, sifter as I like to use them for. So I'm going to get a plastic bowl because this one I'm going to be folding the egg whites and the other mixture. This is cold. Yeah, that's cold enough.
Ken Wang says, yes, you better make it happen. Omi says, my mom has the same towel on the stove.
Your mom on this one?
Yes.
Very cool. Now, Omi, did your mom actually make it from old clothing that she recycled from your childhood, or did she actually buy it? You let me know. Thanks. Yeah, I'm going to use this one. I don't want to get that one dirty. It has an emblem. It's kind of cute. I don't want to mess it up. So you guys know sometimes I buy these just for the hell of it. Just going to put the mixture on there. And what I'm doing here is making it even thinner. Making sure everything, all the orange zest is out. And everything else is just peachy. Now, Ashley, I think all of that chatter and cattiness might affect your video for school. Because we're actually recording this live, but we're recording on our laptop too, on her laptop, and we're supposed to show this to the class. So we're gonna have to do some real editing, get some of that stuff out. So thanks in advance, Omar and Ray, for spiking up my my temper.
Omi says I could understand that Yosemite Sam.
Oh, Omi.
And then Yuri Anthony.
Yeah.
Why are you being Paula Dean?
Because I'm in the South now, y'all.
He's not racist though, so that's a plus.
Eh.
Oh my god, I can't deal with you right now. What's wrong with you?
Eh. Some people might disagree.
Oh god.
I'm not racist. I actually love and hate everybody equally, and I know people hear that a lot.
I just hate everybody.
But it's true. So doing this, I'm getting all this lemon zest out, making sure that everything's just soft and creamy, because this cake needs to be perfection. Part of it needs to be completely soft, smooth, and beautiful. So I use the larger one because it gives me more range to actually spread it all around. But sometimes it gets kind of clogged up with the orange zest, so you use the parts that have not been used yet, and then you get the most out of it.
Okay, I have a legit question.
Yes,
What
ma'am?
do you think about pre-baking the crust before you put in the filling for the cheesecake?
So you actually do, if you're going to use graham cracker crust, you actually do pre-bake the crust. About 20 minutes, you make your mixture of graham cracker, butter, and sugar. Now, you don't want to use a lot of butter, even though when you do the right ratio, which I think is 3 parts graham cracker, 1 sugar, 2 sugar and 1 part butter. It's going to be very still kind of flaky, and it's not going to hold together too well. You don't want to add more butter, because once you pre-cook that crust, the butter is going to oil up if it's too much butter.
Yeah, trust me, you guys do not want to use
Yes.
a lot of butter. I made that mistake, and it was basically butter graham crackers. But it was really
does.
good, but it was terrible.
But the crust never got crunchy. It just stayed moist and oily. So you don't want that. However, this is a crustless cheesecake. So part of the cotton cheesecake is almost like a souffle. It's fluffy, it's airy, has no crust, almost like a flan. So Omar, there you go. I guess I still went for my roots after all.
That question was for Frank Crow.
Okay, so he asked a question?
Yeah, that was the question I just read.
Wow, that's a very smart question, Frank. Look at
And
you.
then Yuri says, no, you're more like Darien Lake doing holiday.
Well, she did actually do a really good job portraying Paula Dean. So see, lemon zest gone. Scrape the outside with a clean spatula. You don't want to get any lemon zest in there. So yeah, she actually portrayed Paula Dean really well, Anthony. You're right, Iran. And it does take a lot of talent to do so. So thank you. So now I'm very
Nancy
talented.
says, you're making a mess. Wipe down that bowl.
I am gonna wipe that up, bowl, Nancy. And actually the counter because it's messy.
His
Thanks.
OCD is going to kick in really bad here.
Yeah, I know. So I'm gonna wipe this down from the bottom, get all of that there, because again, with baking, because you have to have the right measurements. If I leave this on here, you're looking at about a few ounces, maybe 1 or 2 ounces of batter, and then everything else will fall apart. Also, one thing I didn't mention, the eggs, when whipping them, you want them room temperature. You don't want them cold. They won't peak as fast. And so if you use cold eggs right from the fridge, you're going to end up not being able to whip them the right way. They're not going to gain all that air, and they're not going to help the cake rise. Also, please do not get any whatsoever, even a gram of egg yolk in there. Egg yolk is protein, and it will not it could whip them for life, and it will not do anything. I had that happen to me. I separated an egg, the egg yolk broke a little bit. I tried to scoop it out thinking that it was great. It ended up really messing my recipe up, and I ended up having a failed cake that exploded in the oven like a volcano.
It's like molten lava.
It was,
It was
yes.
still good though.
It was really good. It tasted really good. And somebody actually took some home because they really liked the way it tastes. So the taste was great. It's just that it looked like it exploded.
It's because of those ovens. They suck at school.
Yes. Also, you want to get a infrared thermometer to calibrate your ovens here and there to make sure that they're working correctly, because temperature is key on this. Specifically this one, you actually have to change it from 365 to 325 to 280 in between cooking, so it doesn't lose air. It stays fluffy and airy. So right now, egg whites, see, they don't come out. They're perfectly whipped and peaked. I'm gonna add those egg whites. Let me just clear this up. So I'm gonna add them a little bit at a time, so that way they don't deflate. So I'm gonna just basically fold them, and what you're doing is just mixing it together. Well, not mixing it, folding them.
I like your people commenting. Ray says, do you recommend the cream cheese be in room temperature as well before you start mixing, or does it matter?
At this time, because we actually did the double boiler on top of the stovetop, it doesn't matter. However, I do always recommend that the cream cheese be at room temperature. It's easier to blend. You get less lumps. And I bought whipped cream cheese already, so it really helped the recipe move along faster. But if you have just regular Philadelphia cream cheese in a block, leave it out for about an hour. A good tip is, if you're preheating your oven, you get a metal baking pan. You put the cream cheese on top, on its foil, and you put it on top of the stove. The heat from the oven is going to help heat up the cream cheese a little bit and help it soften faster. So right now I'm just folding in the egg whites and the egg yolk and basically the cake mixture at this point. So it's kind of fluffy, marshmallowy, not completely mixed. So that's not a bad thing, because when it bakes, it's going to help the air pockets. So I'm hoping, this first time I'm doing this, by the way, guys, it's an experiment on my own, and I'm just hoping that this, and you don't want to overdo it either, because then it's already losing volume. So I think this is good. It's a little marbled, but I think it's good. What do you think, Ashley?
I think it'll be good.
Awesome. So now I'm going to it's calling for a 6-inch round cake pan. I didn't have one. I had a 12-inch springform. Now, cheesecakes are usually cooked in a springform pan, which I'll show you. For those of you that don't know what a springform pan, it's like a baking pan. The cool thing is that you basically can take it apart when it's done, so you don't have to scrape it off or put it down. But this is a 9-inch pan. If I'm not mistaken, it's 9-inch or 11. And I don't have enough batter to cook the cheesecake in here. So I'm going to use this guy right here. It's 6 inches. Now I used a piece of parchment paper in the bottom to help it come out better. And when I try to take it out, it's ceramic, so it's perfect because it's soft. I could actually use a knife around the edges to pop it out, and then the parchment paper is going to help it loosen up in the bottom.
Did you buy that at Bed Bath & Beyond too?
Actually, this I got from my mom, who got it from her mom and I believe her grandmother. This is a piece that they had for a very long time in Puerto Rico. It's a cute little, almost like a little Dutch oven, ceramic, and I'm not crazy about the color, but just the sentimentality of it, and just the fact that my mom had it for so long and she maintained it really well. This really means something. And I remember having dinners at home, and she would put the beans in here on top of the table. So it's kind of nostalgic in a way, and I really love this piece. So no, I didn't buy the Bed Bath. Bed Bath doesn't sell that. However, if you're looking for something like this, Bed Bath does have the Le Creuset brand. It's cast enamel. You could get it there. The only thing is cast enamel and Le Creuset are extremely expensive. And they run for like $80 and above for the small ones. But then in Macy's, Martha Stewart brand has the same one, really compatible, except for the branding. And they run for like $20, $30 and above, depending on the size that you get. So if you guys are interested in getting something like this, I recommend it, because I forgot I had this and I was freaking out, figuring out if I had to go to Bed Bath & Beyond to get a 6-inch pan. I remember I had this, so.
Ray says, which do you prefer, 9 inches or 11 inches? Will the bigger pan make it crack more?
No, actually, it doesn't matter. It's just the fact that my recipe and my ingredients call for a smaller pan. Also, the cotton cheesecake is going to be fluffy and airy. It's going to be tall. So I'd rather have a smaller diameter with height, and that way it'll rise better, and it'll just look very fluffy. If I use this one, it's going to probably be flatter. Now, when it cracks, it all depends on the oven temperature and the amount of flour. So if the cakes usually crack when they don't have enough liquid, and or when the oven is too warm. So if you ever have your cake crack in the middle, you made one of those two mistakes: not enough flour, not enough liquid, or too hot of a oven. I'm gonna pour the mixture on the pan with the parchment paper in the bottom lining it, and this should be exactly the right amount. We see, oh my God, this is perfect, Mom. Thank you. You saved my life today because I was about to go to Bed Bath & Beyond.
And we were not going out again for a third time.
Yes, okay, so
Can't handle that again.
a little story about me that I actually found out today. I am very, how would you call that?
Blonde? You should be blonde.
I'm very blonde. So she waited in the car for a good 20 minutes because I had to go upstairs twice. First time I left my credit card. The second time I left something else. I forgot what it was already.
You changed your shoes.
Oh, I came to change my shoes.
And then you left your phone.
And then when we got to the supermarket, I ended up leaving my phone. And then she was using my members club card for the supermarket to get some coupons off of the machine. So I told her to open the car, so she opened the car. As I'm walking over, I forgot that my car locks itself back up within less than a minute. So as I'm getting to the car and I reach for the handle, the car locks. So I had to go back into Food Lion, get the keys from her, and then run back out to the car to get my phone, which I forgot. Now, I didn't really need my phone, but I had some ingredients that I needed to buy. Now, we went around the supermarket about maybe 4 times because I just kept forgetting things and buying things, and I'm all over the place. We get home, the one thing I said I know I have at home, didn't have at home. So we had to go to the Dollar General, which is closer to my house, and we bought the cornstarch, which is what I was 100% sure I had.
And you've never been in the Dollar General before, ladies and gentlemen.
I've never been in the Dollar General. I was very impressed. I was very impressed. It was actually pretty cool. Really good prices, actually. I might go again, depending. You grow up. I used to talk crap about people who shop value-wise.
You grew up, you gotta pay for your own stuff.
I gotta pay for my own
budget,
stuff.
and Dollar General's your best friend.
Exactly, and I ended up having to really focus on budgeting at this point. So, guys, you'll be proud of me. I am budgeting on certain things. I still have to go to Bath and Body Works and get my lotions. So, that's about the only thing I really spend money on daily.
Oh Lord, I'm not to teach you how to make lotions.
I'm not gonna make my own lotion. That would be like having moving to Harlem status. I'm sorry, I'm Frank. I know you live there, or Spanish Harlem. I forget, but so I'm just kind of like flattening up the top a little bit. Now it looks very fluffy, foamy, almost like a great cappuccino. This should make for an amazing cake. So the oven is set at 325. I'm going to place it now. I don't know if you guys know what this is, bain marie for French. Baño de María en español. And what do you guys call it?
Baña.
What do you call it here?
What, bain marie?
Bain marie?
Mm-hmm.
Not the English word, not this.
The devil boiler. Or bain marie.
Well, bain marie is a French word.
Rondo?
Rondo? No, that's something else. Well, either way, you basically put a pan inside a pan and you fill it up with water. Now, actually, you know what that does to the actual cake? Why you fill it up with water and put it in there?
So it doesn't stick.
No, really? So the water, the vapor from the water actually helps the cake create not create any bubbles inside. So.
Oh, you're talking about in the pan.
Yes.
Okay.
So the water, what the water does, yeah.
Gotcha.
So putting the water outside of the pan, not touching the actual item inside, helps evaporate any bubbles that it will create. So you should get a solid cheesecake, fluffy, creamy, no obstructions. What I'm doing right now is actually I'm heating up the water. Now a lot of people decide to just throw water in there and put it in there. What that does, that lowers the temperature of the item and the oven. If you boil water, I'm boiling water in a tea kettle. Boil water, put the water already hot in there. You're really just helping yourself, helping the cooking time, and just making sure that you're crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. Is there any questions I could answer before I put this in there?
No, everyone's just giving you praise.
Aw, you guys, I also want to say thank you for your support. I know you guys could be doing something else, and the fact that you're watching me is amazing. You guys know how how fun I am with what I'm doing, how in love I am on my choice to just switch career tracks, and go towards culinary, which I enjoy immensely. We had an event on Friday. Chaotic. There were some tears. People were angry. People walked away and smoked, and I just soaked it all in. I thought it was one of the best experiences I've had. It's a real world experience. We were catering to some students from another culinary school, catering to a few of the faculty members in school, and
we did Ronald McDonald's house.
And we did Ronald McDonald's house. We actually gave back to the community. We catered for them as well, and I just have to say it just feels great to put all your love and effort into something, and then let people know and show them what you can do, and at the same time just gratifying to just get that love back and all those comments. And always, it's not always going to be great. I know there were some comments about certain things on Friday, not that I made, but it's all about the feedback and how you could improve. If you cook just for yourself and what you like, you're not going to impress anybody. I had to bring it down on the salt. I had to bring it down on the seasoning because I felt that, well, a lot of people told me that I was cooking too salty or it was too flavorful in a bad way, because it could be flavorful in a negative way. So I brought it down. I know Anthony Brienza is one of them, who always thought that my food was too salty.
Here, nobody can handle Caribbean food unlike you and I.
That's very true. But see, the ones that are cooking, we love our spices. We love everything that we make, but we actually compromise and we bring it down to the level in which everybody else could enjoy it, which is great. But most cooks love that extra bold flavor and that seasoning.
Ray says in the adobo too.
What?
Ray says in the adobo too.
So
don't worry, Ray. I joke about him all the time about that too. I would ask him where his adobo is.
So how about the adobo? I do have it. But this bottle, it's months and months and months old. I stopped using adobo a lot. I started to make my own mixture. So I started to make my own adobo, and because I like to take pride in what I do. And when you cut corners, I mean, it's great. It tastes amazing. It makes everything amazing. But I don't like to cut corners, and I like to be as from scratch as possible. So I started to make my own adobo. Now I add mustard. I add ginger, ground ginger, which is not in the regular adobo. So I add a few of my things that I really love, and I actually add a little brown sugar. Now brown sugar will make everything a little brown, caramelized sometimes if you're sauteing or high heat. So in your meat, pork chops specifically, add a little brown sugar, ginger, mustard, a little salt, pepper, garlic. It goes a long way. It tastes amazing. And that's what we're making today. Ashley and I will be making pork chops with sweet potatoes.
Yes, sweet potatoes with chili powder, sugar, salt and pepper, and cinnamon.
And cinnamon. There you go.
And oil. It's really good. You guys should try it.
Now, today's my fish day. So for those of you that tuned into the last time, I did speak about my menu for the week and how I'm only eating specific proteins during the week. And part of it is eating vegetables twice a week, eating fish twice a week to get a little bit healthier. So today's my fish day. So I'm making...
Surf and turf.
Surf and turf. So she's having the pork chop, I'm having the salmon, and I'm going to be making a beurre blanc sauce with the salmon. So once I cook it, take it out of the pan, let it rest for a little bit, and I'll be adding some shallots, some white wine, letting that reduce, adding some cream, some scallions, salt, pepper, and of course butter, because beurre means butter in French, and blanc means, well, white, which is the white wine. So the butter is the biggest important part of it, so that will go amazing with both the pork chop and the fish, because beurre blanc goes amazing with any type of protein, specifically steak and chicken. But my steak, I'm very standard, very traditional with my steak. I just like my steak pretty much cooked in salt, pepper, and basted with butter and garlic. That's it. I don't want any barbecue sauce, any steak sauce, nothing. I like my steak medium, medium well, kind of medium rare lately when I'm cooking it. So I skip the step where you put it in the oven for like 2 or 3 minutes to finish cooking. I cook it all on the stove top, very high heat. You actually let the pan get extremely warm where it's actually smoking. You don't use olive oil, by the way, please. Olive oil has low burning, low smoking ratio, so you want to use safflower oil or grapeseed oil. I have safflower oil, could withstand high heat. It's not going to smoke and create this nasty flavor, and it's going to definitely cook the steak really well. If you do it really hot on the stove, on top, 2 to 3 minutes on each side, and then baste it with butter, the butter garlic.
He says, like the steak I made you.
Yes, Omi. Omar actually made a really good steak. I was impressed. Honestly, Omar, no offense, I just thought you invited me over and I was going to have the worst meal of my life. And I have to say, it was amazing. You actually cooked really well, and you impressed me. And, you know, you're Peruvian, so unfortunately I thought, well, I'm just going to have some pretend fried rice and some, you know, overcooked shredded beef. But I didn't. I had an amazing piece of steak, so thank you.
Nancy said, shouldn't you be baking, sir?
I am waiting for my water to boil, which is actually done. Thank you, Nancy, for keeping me on track and for keeping me awake through those many Bed Bath & Beyond meetings. Because all of you that know me know that I fall asleep during meetings because I can't sit down. And Ashley could attest that I stand up in class when I feel sleepy.
Dude, I took a picture of him passed out on his book bag.
Okay, so that was once. No, I was done with my test. So let me just tell you, I am allowed to rest and sleep if I'm done with the test early. So I recommend that you heat the water and then you put this inside, then you fill it up with water. You don't want to fill it up with water and then do a balancing act. So I'm gonna open the oven. It's at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Actually, I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna move the rack down one. My dish towel fell. Gonna move the oven rack down one so it's right in the middle. And hopefully I'll enjoy myself.
Ray says you fall asleep everywhere, even in gym class while in high school.
Well, who went to gym class in high school anyway? God.
First of all, that proves that we're soulmates because I failed gym.
Who fails gym? Well,
me, because I didn't give a shit.
Is Kenny Hakim there?
Huh?
Kenny Hakim is in there?
No, he's not.
Oh.
I haven't seen if he has commented.
Kenny Hakim is that guy that went to gym for 3 periods the last senior year because not just him. We played hooky in high school. I'll admit it, in camera. Well, it's 14, 15 years later. Jonathan, Kevin, Luis, Camilo, Kenny, we all know we played hooky. Wasn't that the most scariest moment when my aunt, who's a guidance counselor in school, showed up to my house when we were playing hooky, playing video games? Their faces, actually, when they saw my aunt, so they didn't know about some of them didn't know about my aunt, walk in thinking that it was somebody from school to get us because we were cutting class.
Okay.
Best moment ever. Jonathan looked like he was going to pee his pants. Camilo didn't know what to do with his face. I think Kenny knew she was my aunt, so he was cool. Just going to fill it up with water to as much as I can because water will evaporate. And I made that mistake once where I didn't put enough water. I was cooking my creme brulee. So I made my creme brulee, said 20 minutes. I didn't put enough water. The water melted, and guess what? It was cooking a lot faster than it should have because the water wasn't there. My creme brulee ended up being a little bit dry, had a lot of bubbles inside, and it just wasn't the right consistency.
Adrian says, if you become famous, don't forget about me.
Of course. So guys, by the way, this is my first video in which I cook. I think I would have done a better job with the ingredients if it were my own recipe, but I had to follow on somebody else's because it is baking and it has to be completely precise. I did learn all the ratios, but I still needed to know the sequence because you have to make things in order when you're baking. You can't skip a step, you can't mix them around, you can't do one thing over the other. It has to be specific and precise to get the right consistency. So I'm going to set my alarm for 40 minutes. and I will pretty much go live later on. I will just post it on Facebook when I'm going live again to just show the results of the actual cake. So for now, we're gonna let it bake. I should have just baked it earlier and then just had one made like they do in the cooking shows, where they already have it made. But I can't wait to see how it comes out. Again, this is the first time that I'm making it, so let's just cross our fingers and hope that it comes out fluffy. Also, one question hopefully that you guys have in your minds that you haven't answered, that you haven't asked and you want an answer for is, why didn't I butter or oil the pan so it could come out easier? And the reason why is you don't want to affect the color of the actual cake, because when it comes out, it's also like a showpiece. It has to be completely white on the side. I put parchment paper in the bottom to help it slide out, and that part is the only part that's going to be brown. But when you know that a cake should have a specific color, you want to keep it that way. So the butter or oil would have really affected the texture of it and the color of it on the outside. So that's why I didn't butter the pan, so it could become easier to take out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a knife and go around it. And that's why I'm so happy that I have a ceramic or even glass works, but glass and ceramic have a different temperature in which they cook. So in my timing, I have to really watch it because I might need to adjust my timing, because usually aluminum or metal pans cook a lot faster. They transfer heat better. So I'm taking a chance with the ceramic as well, but I will get a cleaner cake as it comes out the oven and when I'm trying to plate it. So,
Mommy wants to know, where's the timer set at?
So the timer, I'm going to put the timer at 40 minutes. No, he noticed that I didn't put it yet. Not to worry, Omi. Thank you, actually. I really appreciate that. Let me just set it so I don't forget it.
And Ray says, but you're fluffy, question mark. It has to be fluffy.
Yes, it's going to be fluffy. It's going to be fluffy. That's why in between cooking, I'm going to change the temperature from 325 to 280. So you're going to let it bake. You're going to let it brown and set, and then you're going to basically lower the temperature so it cooks inside a little bit slower. So what you do with the higher temperature in the beginning is letting it cook on the outside fast and getting its shape. So you want to capture that. You want to have it fluff up and set itself, and then the lower temperature will help it cook inside. If you do it hot throughout, you're going to overcook it, and it could actually collapse on you. What?
He says 45 minutes. Is that how long it'll take you to go get a cheesecake and come back?
Like I said before, Omar, you can't find this cheesecake in Savannah or even in Georgia. It's not that it's rare. It's fairly new to the market in terms of it made a big impact in Japan. It's crazy, they go crazy with their Pokemon and stuff. And now
you guys know it takes a long time for Southern people to open up their minds and try new stuff.
Very true. I'm still afraid to go down the streets holding hands with somebody because
if it ain't biscuits and gravy, they ain't gonna change. They ain't gonna try it until about 5 years later.
About Southern cooking, I still don't get the point with the whole grits and the collard greens with the ham hocks. I don't get the gist. I tried it. It's not great. Must be an acquired taste. Just like blood sausage is to Puerto Ricans because we love blood sausage. A lot of people don't like that. It's a weird taste. But
I'll tell you the history later. And Adrian says, I thought cheesecake was a no-bake thing.
Okay, so that's a misconception. So a lot of chefs and a lot of people, specifically Rachel Ray, who likes to cook everything with a quick mix because she's a cook for the husband or housewife. She likes to make things easy, so she uses a lot of pre-mixed items such as boxed cake mix or things that are halfway made, or already like a fruit compote that's already made and set. So she likes to make things very easy. Part of it, the thing is that those cooks like to do is make things a lot easier. Now, cheesecake can be a no-bake, but it's not official. It's not authentic. So you could use cream cheese, sour cream to just give it that thickness, and sugar. You have the pie crust already store-bought probably, or you bake it yourself. But if you're gonna bake the pie crust, might as well just do the whole thing. But if you already do that, you pour it and then you freeze it for 4 hours, and you have yourself a soft cheesecake. Now you would add gelatin powder or a gelatin sheet, and that way it could actually help it keep its form and its consistency and make it dense. So you need all that just to make that type of cheesecake. When you bake it, you're giving it texture, you're giving it volume, and you make it fluffy, and it stays on its own. But you can't do that.
Ray says, so are you calling Rachel Ray fake?
Not fake, not at all. It takes somebody that knows what they're doing to really use those pre-mixed items and make something taste amazing and new and fresh and almost like it was made from scratch. What she's doing is really helping those people that really don't have it in them to cook well. As I mentioned earlier, we have a bunch of chefs in the kitchen, and we have the same recipes, the same ingredients, the same utensils, the same stoves, the same everything. But at the end of the day, mostly everybody, comes up with something that tastes different, feels different, and they spend the same amount of time cooking it. The ones that have the same results, just as me and Ashley for the main part, we're skilled in the way that we can make something great and follow the ingredients, but we're still making our own judgment calls. Some people will burn something even if they're not using a stove. So
look here, we had someone in our class completely molten lava cookies.
Yes.
Like, I mean, they were liquid, molten, burnt cookies. I don't know how you do that, but that's just me.
Yes, basically it looked like Cookie Monster just threw up on a pan. And basically followed the same the same recipe that we did. So that's what I mean. Not everybody can be a cook or a chef, and people think that it's easy to cook. It's not. It takes a lot of judgment calls from you. Measurements,
and you taste
and
everything.
And you taste everything.
Every single step you cook, you taste. It don't matter if you don't like it. You better taste it.
And you know what? In the end, Ashley, do we follow the recipe to 100%? No. We change a few things because we know better. We've had experience with things that work better, and they turn out amazing. And that's why Rachel Ray does what she does to help people that don't have that. Because I know I can't be a surgeon as much as I watch Grey's Anatomy. I know I don't have it in me to care enough about somebody to save their life.
CPR, and that's bad.
I mean, I could perform CPR, but only on cute people. So if you're ugly, you're
you're screwed. You're screwed.
Pretty much, or if I don't like you, which you know who you are.
Adrian says, make me a cake for my B-Day in October. And Ray says, I can get you on TMZ. We can make you famous. LOL, war between ChefJdot and Rachel Ray.
Yes! I would love that. I would like to meet her. She seems like a very fun person. And
I think she smiles too big.
A little bit. But honestly, I think that whenever people speak about her, it seems so negative. And I guess it felt judgy from me because I just have this judgmental tone to me every single day when I speak about somebody. It's not judgment. She does what she does and she's great at it. And she helps a lot of people that don't cook well. So kudos to her because she found a way to help someone. I wouldn't go through the trouble and I would just say, all right, well, you can't cook, too bad. Oh, well. That's just me. Yeah, if you can't follow along, you just can't. Some people are meant to be teachers and some people aren't meant to be teachers. I'm not a teacher by any means. When I tried to teach Tony how to drive, he punched me in the arm pretty hard, and we've only known each other for 2 months. So I'm not a teacher by any means. I will frustrate you, and I will just frustrate myself. Yes. And I will make you feel like a failure because that's just. You judgmental. So I am judgmental, and I just can't do anything about it. I am honest about who I am and what I am, so that's what I could do.
Usually, gay people are pretty judgmental. They keep all the straight people in check.
Very true. We do keep people in check.
They let us know when we look terrible.
And chefs have egos. You guys see it. You guys know it. We all have egos, and it just helps us do what we do with passion. I have standards. You have to have standards, and part of having standards, I feel, should be being a little judgmental and not settling and not compromising and not being complacent. And that's what I decided to be and do, and that's why you could succeed in a few things. I'm not saying that I will succeed in everything. I'm not perfect by any means, far from it, but it's helped me get through life. So why change now?
I think we should submit this video to Food Network.
Food Network would love me for this, not really. But anyway,
as long as I can be a director.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back in 40 minutes, well, less than 40 minutes, to see how the cheesecake turns out. So wish me luck. I am prepared with my powdered sugar. I'm gonna cut some stencils, powdered sugar them on top, see how they turn out. And I'm going to finish this wine, pour myself another glass.
Yes.
And I hope to see you guys soon. And again, I just want to thank you guys for the support, the questions, the comments, and keep watching. I'll see you later.
Yes. Bye, guys.